Whispers in the hospital. On the first day of my hospital stay, I was resting during the day, but by nightfall, a sudden and intense pain from the kidney stone hit me. I had hoped the stone might move and relieve the pain, but it didn't. I considered calling the nurse, but I convinced myself to endure it, thinking I could manage. After a while, I heard the door to the shared room creak open. Despite sweating heavily from the pain, I kept trying to endure it, but no one entered the room. Only the sound of slippers moving around echoed. I could sense someone in the room, but couldn't see them. The slippers got closer, and I could hear a voice softly muttering, "No." A chill ran down my spine, and I felt nauseous. Someone was definitely moving around the room, but I couldn't see them. I tried to stay still, hiding under the covers, hoping they wouldn't notice me. I felt like if I moved, I'd draw attention. My fear was growing, and I started to panic, trying not to let my breathing give me away. I stayed as still as possible, too terrified to open my eyes. A few days later, a new patient was assigned to the bed next to mine. He was a middle-aged man, there for an ulcer test. We talked briefly, and I learned that he would likely move to another ward once his surgery was scheduled. As for me, the stone had moved lower, near my bladder, but the pain flared up again that night. Just like the previous night, I found myself suffering through the same agony. Then, the same sound of slippers echoed through the room, and once again, I heard the man mutter, "No." This time, he came directly toward me. "You're the one," the man's voice whispered directly into my ear. I froze, unable to move. My heart raced as I turned toward the sound, only to find that the man was standing by the bed next to mine. The fear made me feel paralyzed. Suddenly, I had an overwhelming feeling that this man was going to die soon. It was as though I knew, without a doubt, that death was imminent for him. Panic set in, and I did something completely out of character, threw open the curtains. I wasn't thinking clearly, driven by fear and confusion. What I saw on the other side of the curtain was an elderly man in a white hospital gown, shuffling around like a frail, disoriented old man. He looked like someone who wandered the halls aimlessly. He walked out of the room slowly, almost as if he wasn't really there. I watched, stunned, as he exited the room. The next morning, I felt a sense of relief when the stone passed during urination. I was finally free from the pain, but the events of the previous night remained a mystery. I couldn't make sense of what had happened. There were no rumors among the nurses or other patients about the old man wandering the hospital. It was as if no one had seen or heard anything unusual. A few days later, by chance, I saw the same elderly man in a different ward. He had been transferred to a private room from the intensive care unit. His body was emaciated, and he seemed to be in a near comatose state, though his cheeks were oddly flushed. At that moment, it hit me I was witnessing something beyond the ordinary. That night's events, though strange and terrifying, had been a glimpse into something far greater, though whether it was fate or coincidence, I could never be sure.